Today I'm going to show you how to photobash this picture. Photobashing is like making a magazine collage, but it's done all digitally. This art form is used in many industries to rapidly prototype many things. For instance, this could be a rapid prototype for a book cover or a poster for a movie. If you look down in the description, you will see links to all of the pictures that I use to make this with. Please take some time now to download all of these pictures and follow along with me because this is actually lots of fun. And now that you've downloaded those pictures, let's use them to create a tall tale from the United States. We're going to tap on Import right up here at the top. And we're going to browse to where we put those pictures. Now I put mine on my Dropbox, so I'm just going to keep going over here and I'm going to select Dropbox, select whichever location you used, and I'm going to go into PROcreate. And I started each of my pictures with this PB. And you can see them sitting there trying to update. The first one we're going to do is this Senegal one. And that's the one with the oxen. So we're going to get Babe the Big Blue Ox from this picture. And there it is. Now, just because I like having layer numbers and whatnot, I'm going to choose to tap on my plus sign till I have 5 layers. Let's go to layer 2. I'm going to tap, add, insert a file. And as you can see, we're all right here. And we're going to choose this Sergi A right here. This is going to be the picture that we're going to insert Paul Bunyan and Babe the Big Blue Ox. And as you can see, that's a very nice picture there. What we're going to do is we're going to put Babe behind these trees right here so that he is kind of walking a little bit on the edge of the water on the other side there. And then we're going to put Paul behind these trees right here so that we'll get the perspective that Paul is very big and Babe is very big. So let's continue here. We're going to insert another file. There we go. Let's get Paul. And as you see, because I did not select layer 3 first, it just came in as an inserted image. And you can do all of yours that way. It's fine. It's not going to cause any problems. We're going to continue inserting the rest of them. And on this one, it's a pretty small picture for me, so I'm going to go into my snapping. I'm going to turn the magnetics and snapping off. And then I'm going to tell it to fit to canvas. That makes it nice and big there. And let's prepare this by clicking on the S ribbon up here at the top. And this is your selection menu. I'm going to select the sky, and then I'm going to tap on the layer and I'm going to say clear. Now I'm going to go back to the selection. We'll go to freehand. I'm just going to freehand this whole section down here right on out. Tap and clear. Because we're going to put these cloud textures in on the main piece. And that'll be the last thing that we do. I'm going to start with my ox and work my way up. And what we're going to do is tap on the selection menu, make sure it says freehand, and then we're going to draw around the ox. And this part is tedious to watch, so I'm just going to speed this up, and I will see you on the other side. Okay, and now that we have this selected, I'm going to come right here to feather, which as you can see is fourth from the right. I'm going to put the amount to 3%. And this will give it a fuzzy edge so that it'll match into whatever background you put it on. And then I'm going to go right next door here and choose copy and paste. And we can turn this off and put it down here. I'm now going to go ahead and do our Paul Bunyan and our axe. And then I will see you whenever that is done. And here we go. I have cut out the axe. Not the whole thing because we don't need the bottom of it. I've cut out young Paul here. I'm going to make into Big Paul Bunyan. And as you know, as you watched, I have cut out Babe the Big Blue Ox, which we will be coloring blue soon. Let us start with Paul. Now, we want Paul to be behind these trees right here. And we want him to look big. So I'm going to put him right at about like this. And for his axe, we're going to rotate it and flip it horizontal there. And his axe is going to go right here on the other side of him. I'm going to tilt it a little bit. That way it'll look like he's leaning on it. So this will go one layer down And it now looks like Paul is going to be leaning on this axe, but the axe is too light colored for this picture. So we're going to go up here to the adjustments menu, and right here I'm going to choose hue, saturation, brightness. And we're going to darken that axe right up. Until it's almost a complete silhouette. And now it looks more like a lumberjack axe. And in fact, it looks to me like it's two-bladed because we got it scooted over just at the right place. Okay. And then we're going to need Babe, the big blue ox. I'm going to have Babe flip horizontal because I want Babe to be facing Paul. And let's shrink this down a bit. We want Babe to look big, but not too big. It's on the other side of the water here. So we just kind of want to put this just right. If I put this here, no, yeah, okay. I can put Babe like that. That way I can add a little reflection in the water. From this hoof. That hoof is actually going to be behind the bush that's right there. This one is going to cast a slight reflection going through here. And a much larger reflection going through here. So we need to set up the masks that will hide these things. First thing I really want to do is shorten this axe. So we'll go to the axe layer and we'll choose the selection, freehand selection, and just get rid of all this stuff here at the bottom. We'll do a clear on that. There we go. And then we will turn these off, and we're going to use the automatic selection to select these trees in the foreground here, but not this one here. This one here is going to go behind on the other side of Paul. So I'm going to tap here, and you can see how much that actually takes. We're a little bit too much there, so I'm going to hold and slide over. And see if I can get just the parts that I want. I do want to put all of this in solid. And Paul's going to be on the other side of that. Down here, third from the right is save and load. And we're going to add that to our selection. And now we want to select the trees that are going to be in front of Babe the Big Blue Ox. So once again, we're going to do the S-shaped ribbon. We've got it on automatic. We want these trees and these trees. Don't need anything else, just these two sections. One trick to get this selection is, okay, I know I have this group okay, so I'm going to go up a layer and fill it. And then I'm going to try to get these over here without getting anything else. There. If we fill it with yellow, we'll be able to tell what we've done and what we haven't done. And I don't need that there, so I'm just going to erase it. Alright, now that we have this selected, we're going to say select that layer, and that's going to be our selection 2. For our selection 3, we want the sky. So we're going to come down here, do an automatic selection. Doesn't have to be perfect because it's going to be an overlay, not a replacement. And that should be good enough. Let's remove this extra bit up here. It's good enough. And there's our selection 3. So what we're going to do is we've got Paul over here. Brave little Paul. With his axe. I'm going to merge those two together. I'm going to take our layer 2 and select up here. Going to be an automatic selection. And I'm going to put mask on here. And then I'm going to invert that mask. And there it is. And then I'm going to go to our saved and load, selection 1. And we'll say fill that layer. Now you notice I did fill that layer. I didn't do an insert or anything else. And because I'm on black, that caused all of these trees to go in front of Paul. However, we might want to just draw on a little extra in here just to get those a little bit better. There we go, that looks a little bit more coherent. And then we want to put Babe in here and do the same thing. So we've got Babe. Babe needs to be blue. I'm going to create a new layer. I'm going to use a true blue. I'm going to fill that layer. And then when I tap on that layer and choose mask, clipping mask, it shows up only where Babe is at. Let's put this down here to an overlay. There we go. See, that looks good. We'll group those two together. I'm going to duplicate it, put the original down there, and flatten this one. And there we have Babe. We're going to select, go to Save and Load, and we'll choose Selection 2. And we'll choose Mask, and then Invert. And that puts the trees in the foreground in front of the ox. I'm going to duplicate the ox. Get rid of that layer mask, we won't need it. We're going to create the reflection of Babe. Got to make sure not to select the mask for that. Alright, and I want this hoof and that hoof to show as reflections in the water. But I don't need anything else to. So, I'm going to do a freehand selection. So that all we're dealing with are these hooves. Do a clear. And we're going to make that a screen or a lighten, one of the two. Yeah, I think lighten works. Yeah, that looks pretty good. So now that we have the reflections all set up, I've got it on lighten, we need to put it behind those trees. So we'll do the selection. We'll choose selection 2. Tap on that, say mask, and then invert. And now the reflections are a little bit more believable. Then we got Paul, who has his hand. His left hand is just kind of hanging out there in the air. We don't want that. So let's go to where Paul is, right here. I want him all the way at the top. Go to the layer mask. And we want to get rid of, by painting with black, this whole thing here. Now it looks like he's reaching over in front of him and holding the other side of his axe. And for our very last trick, we want this overlay to have the proper mask on it. So we go to selections. We're going to choose selection 3. Choose mask. And that looks pretty good to me. Let's move this below the ox. And we no longer need all that stuff at the top and the bottom. Here you go. We have Paul Bunyan and Babe the Big Blue Ox, one of America's tall tales. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope it helped you to understand how to do photobashing. And do have a wonderful day.